How about that? Oh, and guys, new merch. Your boy is having a day today. So the movie came out today, and I got this new merch. And I know it's reversed, but this says Jesus said there would be haters. Okay, and it's got the JT follows JC on the sleeve, and the back says endure to the end. It says, because Matthew 10:22 as well. So Matthew 10:22 says, you'll be hated by all nations for my name's sake, but the one who endures to the end will be saved. Matthew 10:22. Jesus said there would be haters. That's right. But you know what? It's a good day. Today's the day the Lord has made. I feel so blessed to be talking to you guys right now. I was just a guy just with the phone and obviously reading his Bible, seeking God. Made my first TikTok, and now we have released a documentary movie. And this has only been it's been less than 2 years. God is so good. It's unbelievable. And it's so cool that I never could have seen myself doing this in a million years. But I'm here. But here we are. But here we are. Thank you so much. Do I believe the rapture happens on September 2023? No. No, I don't. Why would I? What reason? Is there a guy on here saying he's picking date setting again? Thoughts on the Nephilim? That it's interesting you asked that question. That's what Ancient Angels is basically about. It's like so Ancient Aliens spins this tale of the gods came down and then they give man technology and then they built these megaliths. Well, of course, in Ancient Aliens they call them, well, these people were too primitive to realize they were talking to aliens. They weren't really gods. But if you look at the accounts of all these ancient peoples, they say giants built these megaliths. So in Genesis 6:4, it talks about the sons of God came into the daughters of men and created Nephilim. The Nephilim were in those days and also after. And the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore them children. They were the heroes of old, the men of renown. And so that is basically what all these ancient people spoke of. So I think that why wouldn't we just believe what the people said? I mean, there's no real good explanation for these things outside of that, because these things were so, like when you see blocks that are too big for us to even fathom how they could move those things. I'm not saying giants picked them up and moved them. I think some of these giants obviously had extra technology as well. But these things were obviously part angel. These things were divine beings or how they would appear to men on earth. And so, like, you think about it, so they're part angel, part man, and that's where you get the story of, like, the Greek mythology, the Titans. Obviously, pretty much every ancient tradition has a story of gods and giants, because just like the Bible does, because it's true. Now, obviously, each story is slightly different, but that's what the movie's about. The movie's about is that a lot of people think, especially in the traditional Christian church, that the idea of ancient aliens is kind of a kooky, weird thing. It's not really serious. It is serious because they are trying to shift the argument of, like, hey, there's no spiritual things. That's why these things are not gods. They're aliens. And that's why you're seeing a lot more alien stuff in the news today, right? Isn't that interesting that, like, now we're talking about aliens again? So if they're trying to, basically they're trying to write back into history, these things were aliens. Now they're talking about aliens coming back. You know, even science floats the idea of panspermia, which means we were created, but by aliens. So now they're trying to say that aliens built the megaliths. Imagine if aliens come here today, and now they say, hey, not only do we build these megaliths, we help engineer you guys. We're your gods, basically. Do you want to be like us? Do you want to evolve to be like us? And then people say yes. But they would be deceived because they were actually the corrupt sons of God. From the book of Enoch, they would be considered the Watchers. They created a race of hybrid humans called the Nephilim, called the Giants. And that's what I'm saying. It's like the Bible has answers for these things. You know, lots of these ancient traditions line up exactly with what the Bible says. Even if you think about like the story of Atlantis. The story of Atlantis is Poseidon fathered like 10 sons, and those 10 sons became kings of Atlantis, or princes. And then eventually the divine spirit dwindled in Atlantis. It became very corrupt, and then the gods decided it needed to be judged by a flood. Does that sound similar to anything in your Bible? It should. read the book of Genesis. That's in there. Pretty crazy, right? Oh, and also, like I said, let's talk about the merch for a minute. Guys, I got a blue shirt. You see the blue. We already know that I'm all of a sudden I'm immune to direct energy weapons. So there's that as well. I mean, talk about timing. The timing was correct on getting the blue shirts. You guys think about that? Mm-hmm. Oh, I got a guest request. I don't think that I want to go live with anyone I don't know today. Cash off Jesus, so American Christians. Well, you could say it like this: that what Paul says is that when you work for the kingdom, you are entitled to some money. You know that, right? I'm not trying to make money off anybody, but I'm saying if you like the shirt, and you like the things that I do, if you want to support me, what I would consider a ministry, you can do that. But you get a shirt too. I'm not asking for your money, but if you want a shirt, you can buy the shirt, right? Well, yeah, no. Well, Jesus says, "Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these other things will be added unto you." So if you're seeking first the kingdom, you can get paid too. It's not about it's like where your heart is. So if you're judging my heart based on what you think, well, I would say, judge not lest you be judged. And I would also say, why don't you worry about the plank in your eye before you worry about the speck in mine? How about that? Because you don't know where my heart's at. So why would you immediately assume that I'm trying to make a lot of money off this? I just got shirts. First of all, I think it's a good idea, right? Oh, are you still there? Hello? Do I hear you? Do I hear you talking anymore? Exactly. So what I'm trying to do is Lord willing, maybe do this for a living one day. I have a real job. I actually have a regular job. Do you know that? I don't do this for a living. So I've not made any dimes off hardly any of these people. Like, I've never asked anybody for money. But what I'm saying is now is I have a movie to sell, and obviously, so I give the information away for free. What I'd like to get paid for is the editing, all the time. I want to get paid for the sizzle on the steak, because it's kind of like when you go to a restaurant, like you pay for the ambiance, you pay for all the other things. I mean, I've put a lot of my own money, and especially a lot of my own time, into talking about this stuff. And obviously, I talk about Jesus every day for free. I don't charge for Bible studies. I'm not passing around an offering plate. I'm saying, do you want to watch a movie? If you want to be entertained, obviously, if you want to pay for all the slick edits, all the AI images, all the art we put into it, the time, the music, all that stuff, that's what you're paying for. This is you're paying for a shirt. Do you like the shirt? If you like the shirt, buy it. If you don't, don't. But it's also another way of, hey, if you want to support something someone does, you pay for it. Unfortunately, in this world, we do need to eat. We need to pay bills. So that's part of it. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, again, you let God worry about my heart. I'll worry about my heart. Don't buy the shirt. You don't have to buy the shirt. That's the thing. You don't have to do it. You don't have to buy the movie either. I think you should, because I think we put a lot of time, and I'm proud of it. I think the shirt's awesome. I think Matthew 10:22 is an awesome shirt. This was an idea I had. I think it's a cool shirt. What do you guys think? What do you guys like the shirt? Jesus said there would be haters. And guess what? There we got one right there. We already got one. We got at least one hater in the chat. Get mad right away. It's true. The Bible's true once again. The shirt is true. How about that? You know it. The movie is called Ancient Angels. Ancient Angels. So yes, link in my bio. It's right now it's a 2-part movie right now. But Lord willing, and obviously if we have the time and obviously the resources to do it, we're going to make more. This is going to turn into a series. We're going to continue to make this because this is sort of an endless topic, because when you realize like the gods of the old times are they're still the princes over the principalities. They're the powers. They're the rulers, the authorities. That's like when Paul says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Who do you think he's talking about? He's talking about this guy. He's talking about this corrupt angel, fallen angel. So we're not glorifying these angels. Obviously, God is glorified. We don't worship angels. But guess what? The world does. The world worships these angels. I just released a video about Superman. So this is some of the stuff we talk about in there. So Superman, his name is Kal-El. So in Hebrew, Kal means light, El means God. And so at one point in the Man of Steel movie, Superman's mom says his name is Kal. It's almost like she says his name is Light, son of El, son of God. So she's saying he's son of God. And even Superman, the term super actually from the root word means from like above or beyond. So think about it. So he's the man from above and beyond. Who does that sound like? So he's the God of light. And so what Paul says is even Satan can appear as an angel of light. So Superman is supposedly the savior of humanity. He's a false Christ. That's exactly what we're talking about. He's a false Christ. He's an alien. Isn't that interesting? Ancient angels, ancient aliens. So Superman is an alien with superpowers, gets his power from the sun. All these ancient religions worship the sun. They still worship the sun. The heliocentric model, that the whole solar system goes around the sun. Not the earth, not what the Bible says. They worship the sun, and they still do. But now, the Nephilim got different names. So your Nephilims now is Kal-El, Superman. And so we talk about that. We talk about Thor, obviously, all these other false gods. Saturn worship as well. Yeah, Saturn worship. All these false gods. So Saturn was a Titan, or Saturn was the father of the Titans. And yeah, so again, this goes back to Greek mythology and this worship of they're worshiping of the stars. So even all the planets are there. We see people, like, what they tell us is the Earth is a planet like the other planets. But it's interesting when you find out the ancients refer to planets as wandering stars. And if you look through a telescope, those planets seem to look like stars to me. They look like stars if you look through a telescope. They don't look like big rocks. They look like, and if they look like a rock, they look like a diamond. Yes, Kronos was father time, which is interesting, and there's a lot of parallels, I think, between Saturn and the Hebrew god, the real god, but I don't know if that's a coincidence or what. Apollyon. Yeah, so Apollyon, I believe Apollyon is Lucifer. I think Lucifer is Nimrod. Nimrod is the king of the bottomless pit, and I think that Apollyon gets let out in the end. Because in Isaiah 14, Lucifer, who the translation of Lucifer, is in the pit. He was cast down from the heavens to the pit. What evidence do you have to demonstrate you God exists at all? Look outside the window, bro. I know that the evidence I have is God's change in me. I can tell you that just the evidence of the fact that we have a conscience of a godly nature of there's a right and a wrong. We got morality. And also, this place is so vast and so awesome, it couldn't happen by chance. And if you say it happened by chance, I'm not going to call you a fool, but the Bible says the fool says in their heart there's no God, because his intentions are corrupt. Because it's like you don't want to know that there's a God. That's why the Bible calls the people who don't believe in God a fool. So that's what I'm going to say. So there's evidence all around you. Now, is there proof? Well, I mean, like I said, I guess it depends. It's like that's the whole point. Is like that faith is the hope for the things you can't see. So obviously, God gave us evidence, and if you're blind to it, well, you just don't want to know. Like you don't want to have proof of it. So like, but that's the whole point. Is like that you need faith in order to believe in God. But you also realize that faith in a Big Bang is pretty stupid, because a Big Bang is foolish. You know, nothing from something is foolish. There's obviously a creator of all things, and that's the evidence. Like, this is like somebody stumbling upon a painting and saying, hey, that's an awesome painting. I bet it painted itself. No, it didn't. You know that's not how this place we live works. Things have to have a beginning, and the beginning of this place was God. You like the T? Okay, so look, the T is Jesus said there would be haters. Look, we got more haters in here. So look, here's how we know the Bible is true. Because this guy mocking Jesus by calling himself Dinosaur Jesus is in here hating on the guy with the Jesus said there would be haters shirt. How about that? See? Somebody saying like, a man just wrote that book. Well, how come everything in it's true then? It always is, it's true. The shirt is true. Like I said, I know it's backwards, but it says, Matthew 10:22. You'll be hated by all nations for my name's sake, but the one who endures to the end will be saved. You know what? I don't care. You know, I don't care why you named yourself that blasphemous thing. And guess what? You're not going to speak anymore on this live. So you can hang around and listen. Maybe you might learn something. What contradictions are you going to talk about? So I'm going to give you the opportunity right now to give me a contradiction. And I'm obviously going to slam dunk it right in your face. Go ahead. Tell me the contradiction right now. Thank you for the donut. Well, that's the thing. I don't care if he hangs out or not. Steve. I muted him because I didn't want to talk to him anymore. No, that's a great question. Is Lucifer and Satan the same being? Well, Satan we talk about this again in the movie. Satan means adversary. Satan is not the devil's name. Lucifer is not the devil's name. See, Lucifer is a translation of Morning Star, Son of the Dawn. Okay, so that's how it's written in the KJV. That's not a name. And typically, a lot of the names in the Bible, they're descriptors of who they are. Now, I believe that there's many Satans, because Satan is like adversary or accuser. So could there be many false gods that are called Satan? But there is one serpent, there is one dragon, because he's like the serpent from the Garden of Eden. I think a lot of people would refer to him as the devil. But like, again, devil's not a name either. Devil means deceiver. Now, I believe this is my belief, and I know I'm probably one of the few who believe this. Isaiah 14 is where you get the idea of Lucifer. And so Lucifer was cast down, and then he gets put in the pit. He wanted to send his throne to above the stars of God. What's interesting, a lot of people say he wanted to send his throne above God, but no, it was the stars of God. And so, like, it's a lament, basically, or it's a taunt at the king of Babylon. Now, this is my belief, that if you go outside the Lucifer, Morning Star, Son of the Dawn, there's no divine descriptions of Lucifer. There's none. If you read Isaiah 14, there's no hint other than that taunt that he was a divine being. Now, I would contrast that with Ezekiel 28. Ezekiel 28 is clearly describing a cherub, an anointed cherub, one of God's most beautiful creations, perfect and wise, in the garden. You know, he walked amongst the fiery stones until he profaned his sanctuaries. Like, to me, the being from Ezekiel 28 in Isaiah 14 are different beings. And so when I came to this conclusion was, so in the book of Revelation chapter 9, there's an angel that gets cast down and is given the keys to the bottomless pit. He lets out the being who's the king over the bottomless pit. So obviously, one's getting cast down and one is letting out the king of the bottomless pit, right? So they're obviously not the same. They're not the same being. And obviously in Revelation as well, the dragon is cast down to earth. Hello, Emily. The devil, the dragon, is getting cast down to earth. And I believe he's the being who lets the king out. And the dragon gives his authority over to the beast that comes out of the pit. And so my belief is, based on a lot of other things I've read, is that Lucifer is Nimrod. It's a Nephilim king. Even if you think about like the mythologies of like Gilgamesh, he's like 2/3 divine. Like Apollo is like 2/3 divine. Isn't it interesting? So like, I think that there's a lot that could be said about that it's possible that this being is a Nephilim, and that's why he's in the bottomless pit, because that's what happened to Nephilim. A lot of Nephilim, some were destined to roam the earth as unclean spirits, but some were put in the pit. And yes, if you like the shirt, I just got these shirts today. New merch. I've not started selling it. What's going on? Yeah, that's right. 2/3, 6. Truth be told, you nailed it. But look, Jesus said there would be haters. I know it's backwards. Sorry, guys. This is the way the cameras work. How about that, though? It says on the back, endure to the end. It says Matthew 10:22. And it's even got the JT follows JC on the sleeve. Is that cool or what? I'm incorrect about what? I just said all that and you said, nuh-uh. You know, I block people for just saying nuh-uh. What part did I get wrong? I mean, see, that's my belief, is because what we talk about in Ancient Angels is a lot of people don't read their Bibles. It's like what we know about angels and giants and the devil and all these things. What we learn about them from is it's like a game of telephone. So you know why people say that Lucifer is the devil? Because some man wrote a book called Paradise Lost, and it says that. The Bible does not say the being from Isaiah 14 is the devil. Not one time. Like I said, the one thing you will not find in Isaiah 14 is you won't find any reference to the serpent. You won't find any reference to a dragon. You won't find any reference to the Garden of Eden. So why do we think it's the devil again? There's no reason to. Like I said, there's actually real no reason to think that's the devil. It's just not. So that, I mean, it also mentions him being a conquering king. And if you think about Nimrod is talked about the first mighty man on the earth. He's like a conqueror. You know, so I believe that Nimrod was a Nephilim, and I believe that's who it was. It's like Gilgamesh is who he's talking about. The king of Babylon. But, well, you know what Yeshua's name in English is? It's Jesus. So I speak English, and most of the people on here speak English, so I wrote his name with the J-E-S-U-S. His name is Jesus in English. And people who get caught up on that kind of stuff are really get confused. They lose kind of like the whole idea of what's about. It's like God is our Father, and obviously He honors our hearts. Not like imagine if your kid pronounced your name wrong, would you be mad at him? Like a little kid? No, you wouldn't. You're not supposed to translate names? Oh, stop. Oh, stop it. Stop it. That's nonsense. You're not supposed to translate names. Says who? Says you? Says you. No, Isaiah 14 is about the king of Babylon. The king of Tyre is Ezekiel 28. Yep. You know, I have not done this video yet, and I'll just straight up say, it says, why do angels say, do not fear? Are they beings with man's eyes and wings? Well, I think when you have, when angels show up in the Bible, when they appear to men, what I find very interesting is the angels always look like men. They look just like, I mean, they don't ever describe them looking any different than men. They don't mention their wings. They don't mention eyes all around. They don't mention any of that stuff. When angels appear to men, they look like men. Even when the angel of the Lord showed up, he looks like a man. So I think that sometimes we don't, like, the understanding of like why they have wings, like the cherubs on the Ark of the Covenant and the cherubs in God's temple had wings. But we're never mentioned of an angel showing up having wings. It's interesting. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that the taunt of the king of Babylon obviously is referencing Nebuchadnezzar at some point, but I do believe when it starts talking more about prophetically, I think it's talking about Nimrod. That's my belief. You know, he's the one who had, like, so just think about the story of Isaiah 14 is like that this person is trying to ascend up into the heavens. So just think about Nimrod is building a tower up to heaven, right? Isn't that what they always say about the Tower of Babel? He was building it up into the heavens. Where can I watch this? You can watch, you go click on the link in my bio. It'll be the top link will say Ancient Angels, watch on Vimeo. So yes, this is I'm so excited. Like I said, the merch, I didn't know the merch was coming today. I'm just lucky. The merch is here. Jesus said there would be haters, and watch all the haters come out as I show them the shirt. I'm gonna get mad. Look, it says JT Files JC on your arm. It also comes in green. I have not actually, like I said, I have not tried to start selling it yet because I didn't know when they were coming. You want a shirt? I'll try to make sure that I get the merch stuff up. Like I said, I did not know this was coming today. I was just more worried about this. Ancient Angels. I'm super excited. Like I said, me and Brian, we made a movie, and then we were like, I don't know, it's kind of too much. And then so we broke it into half. We broke it into part one, part two. Part one is going to be called The Ghost of the Nephilim, and then part two is going to be The Deception. It's out. It's out. This is the release day. This is Ancient, I don't want to say Ancient Angels Day, but it's the day Ancient Angels came out. Yes, I'm excited. I'm super excited. I think that I feel like we're just scratching the surface with Ancient Angels. Ancient Angels is the first one, and I know that a lot of people are aware of some of the stuff I talk about. This is going to be more like Ancient Angels 101. We're going to talk about Nephilim, the flood, megaliths, and then Ancient Angels Part 2 is going to be more about the deceptions. They're going to talk about secret societies, like where are the Nephilim today and all that kind of stuff. We're excited. We're excited. So fantasy, no, this is real. This is real. This is all about the fact that your true history has been hidden from you. And if you still believe all the textbooks, I mean, it's because you want to. There's so much other proof that the textbooks are incorrect. If you look at if you think that the pyramids were built by lots of people, lots of slaves, that's dumb. Like that's ignorant. Because you know as well as I do, you can't just get lots of people to build things. I'm in construction. You can't just use lots of people. They have to be skilled at things. And then when you're talking about the Great Pyramid has over 2 million stones. They average 2.5 tons a piece. And they're not the same. So just think about that. Try to wrap your mind around that. That they're not all the same. And so they say if you were going to build this in 20 years, you'd have to lay one every 1 or 2 minutes for 20 years, 24/7. It's impossible. And so I like to say is one thing that people don't say. They say that would be even hard today. It's more than hard today because we don't do it. Because you know what? If you could use big, huge stones like they did, they would do it because it looks awesome. But they don't because they can't. It's too difficult. If you really believe the mainstream take is that these people just crawled out of the slime and eventually started hunting, and then and then eventually they said, "Hey, let's just build us a city." And they built the most massive structure. Did you guys know that the Great Pyramid was the tallest structure on Earth until the Eiffel Tower? Did you guys know that? Or is it Eiffel Tower? It was this church in England, and that was only taller because it had a spire on the top. So this thing was the tallest thing in the world for like 4,000 years at least. Think about that, or 5,000 years. Imagine like thinking that the first things men built were the greatest things they ever did. Does that make sense? They're trying to tell you there was this linear progress in man to getting smarter. Well, how come he knew how to build those things back then and we don't know how to build them now? That is crazy. Well, you know what? The thing about it is, so, and what I talk about, I don't address it specifically. If you believe the Bible, so Egypt was like a grandson of Noah, or great-grandson. So you know who built the pyramids? They weren't Egyptians, because Egypt wasn't even born yet. I believe the pyramids were there before the flood, and that's why we know so little about them. Because it's almost like there was this massive cataclysm, every bit of paper record was destroyed, and the only thing that was left was stones too big to move. And I think that's biblical. Why would anyone believe the Bible? Well, for starters, I don't know how many prophecies, but there's literally hundreds, if not thousands of prophecies in the Bible that have come true. It's true. That's why we believe the Bible, because it's true. Now, why would somebody not believe in the Bible? For one, they have a wicked heart and they don't want to believe. Two, they haven't looked into it. So which one are you? Probably both. It's almost like somebody really thinks that, like, well, it was written by a man. Well, how come it goes against all man's basically carnal instincts? And how did it all become true? Just think about it. I love it. I'm going to end today because I'm going to go, like I said, positive only. I'm going to end here. But just think about this story. Just think about the story of the apostles, okay? Just stick with me for a second. Okay, so there's historical records of Jesus, the men, and the apostles, okay? If you don't want to believe that those people were real, Jesus and the apostles, well, then you would be going against mainstream historians. Because obviously there's Josephus, I think it's Tacitus, I think is his name, how you pronounce his name. Like, the most famous Roman historians ever wrote about them, okay? All right, now let's go back to the story. So Jesus, at one point, he's teaching 5,000. He feeds the 5,000, and obviously we know that there was more than just men, so there was more than 5,000. Jesus gives them the hard lesson, and all of them walk away. Jesus knows their hearts, so they all leave, except for 12. So the 12 apostles stay because Peter said he had the words of life, and so they were going to follow him to the end. So eventually, by the time, obviously, we know Judas betrays, so then there's 11. And then so leading up to the cross, there was only one apostle left, right? There was only one. There was only one. The only apostle John was at the cross, and also the women. But only one apostle. Okay, so then he's crucified. Obviously, they're all hiding because they don't want to be crucified too. And then guess what happens? Something happens, and then all of a sudden, Peter, who denied Jesus 3 times, is willing to go get beat and then go back into the temple and preach again. And then all the apostles are willing to die for what Jesus said. What do you think happened? I know what happened. They saw the resurrected Christ, and suddenly they were no longer cowards. They went from cowards to lions. And obviously, the only thing that makes any sense, I mean, you really think about this. Like, there was many religions, right? There was many religions. Well, eventually, Christianity spread throughout the world. Now, how could that happen if not for a real God? How could that happen if not for it all being true? And if anybody says the reason Christianity's been promoted is because they wanted to control people, Christianity spread when they were killing Christians. They were killing Christians, and they were trying to stop it. I think the only logical explanation is that the Roman Catholic Church tried to co-opt Christianity, But they did not stop. They did not try to instill Christianity to control people. I mean, it's the power of God, guys. No doubt about it. And I'll leave you with that. There's many reasons to believe. There is no reasons not to believe. If you look into it. Obviously, Jesus gives opportunity for everyone to be saved. And you know what? And once again, this is how we know it's true. Jesus said there would be haters, right? And this is the new merch, guys. Check this out. It also says endure to the end on the back. Matthew 10:22. But yes. So this is a great day. This is the day the Lord has made. This is the day that Ancient Angels came out. You guys hit the link in my bio. It's available. Part 1, The Ghost of the Nephilim, is available right now. And the merch will be available soon. You guys can DM me if you guys are interested in shirts. I can probably get you guys some before that. But yes, I'm super excited. And obviously, you know how I know for sure it's all true? Because God changed me. And I opened the show talking about this, is that I was just a guy sitting on my couch, learning what God was teaching me. I made a TikTok, and then one day I made a movie with my buddy Brian, Demon Racers. If you're not following Demon Racers, check him out. Obviously, we're going to do more, and I mean, I really do think it's amazing, like that God has done a lot in me, and I think it's only the beginning. I love you guys dearly. You guys check out Ancient Angels. It's available today. So excited. Love you guys. I will see you guys soon. I might even jump on later today, see if anybody's seen it. Love you guys.